why I decided to self-publish. My name is Becca and I wrote a fantasy romance book that's called The Broken Kingdoms of Osvolta. I have to be careful because if I say too much about the reasons why I want to self-publish mainly, this video would probably be blacklisted. So without getting into too much of the nitty-gritty details, which is because I like control. Feeling out of control that had some pretty debilitating effects on my mental health. Now, initially the plan was to go the traditional publishing route. I was saving to move out of my parents' house. I even started querying late August, September time last year. And as someone who likes control, I think you can imagine what that did to my mental health. In the 4 or 5 months I was querying for, I had one full manuscript request, and after 2 months that was rejected. Now, one thing that I do want to make clear is that I do not see self-publishing as like a second option. I always wanted to self-publish this book because of my issues with control. So I think it was the end of January when the rejection for the full manuscript request finally hit my inbox. Around the beginning to middle of January, I was pretty much already hinting that I had pivoted and decided I was most likely going to self-publish my book. I suppose your next question will be, what changed? Why did I suddenly pivot and make that decision? So it was actually one day in late November, early December. We were on a weekend break in South Wales, and obviously we got onto the topic about how I had this agent who had given me a manuscript request, how I was nervous because I've been querying for a couple of months now and it was the only one I had and I didn't know what I was going to do if she rejected it. And at that point, my parents sat me down. That was the moment they gave me their blessing to take some of that money that I was using to save to buy a house and use it to self-publish my book instead. And now everything is over to me. Honestly, that is exactly the way I prefer it. You know, this is not me saying that I think I can do everything myself and I don't need anybody's help, because I can't. I've hired an editor, I've hired a cover designer, I'm probably going to hire a proofreader. But at the end of the day, nobody's going to love this book and these characters as much as I do. And if you stay till the end, allow me the honour of reading you the synopsis of my forthcoming fantasy romance book, The Broken Kingdoms of Osvolta. The princess who became an executioner and the prince with a dangerous secret. Solveig Malene mastered a power that shouldn't exist, the ability to draw every drop of water from a body. Sent to Luxenol Mine to act as executioner, Solveig became the perfect weapon, the sword in the crown's golden hand stained with blood so they could shine. When a single choice sees her returning home after 2 long years, Solveig's forced to work with Emmerich Anders, the enemy prince from across the sea, to solve the mystery of the curse that's rapidly unaliving magic users. As they grow closer, Solveig begins to discover that everything she knows and everyone she has unalived may have all been for a lie, and with every use of her weakening power, a death knell approaches. With nowhere else to turn, she begins to trust the prince who makes her long for a life she cannot have. But there is more at work in the depths of Osvolta than either of them knows, an unquenchable force lying in wait to tip the scales in its own favour. Can you ever really trust your enemy, or will they always betray you in the end? And that is my fantasy romance book. Thank you and goodbye!